Hi there, welcome to the Gardens and Graveyard channel. My name is Charisma, and today I'm going to share with you a whole redesign that I did for a friend of mine and created a really sacred and beautiful front yard garden for her. She went all in. She did fairy gardens and labyrinths and altars and herb gardens and cute footbridges and fairy gardens, or a fairy, like a really beautiful woman fairy bird bath, which is just to die for. So she took all the magic and put it all into her garden, which I loved doing so much. It was super fun. So I'm going to show you from start to finish what we've been doing and walk you through the end result. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite part was. In the beginning, the garden was tired, broken, a little dark, overgrown, a little plain, and the dream was hidden away. But the potential was there. All that was needed was a little imagination, some texture, some color, maybe a little elbow grease, and magic. To start with, we had a consult ceremony. We went into meditation, we talked about her dreams, and we connected. So let's go. This was our design rendering, project goals, materials, and cost analysis. On day one, I took this video before I got started. You can see here that things are a little weedy, a little overgrown. Just needs a little more attention than it's been getting. On day two, you can see that I've cut out the pathways and the garden beds. We've edged the lawn and removed all of the lawn so that we have clear boundaries. All the paths and the garden beds are defined. On day three, We have limbed up the hazelnut tree. We've marked out the labyrinth. We've added in a couple of small plants. We really thinned out that hazelnut tree. We hedged the edgeworthia. We limbed up rhododendrons. We cleaned up ferns. We did a ton of weeding. We cleaned up the yucca there, and we cleared out this hillside where we uncovered a heather and some daisies and lithadora. The pathway is a little more clear and definitely lighter. On day 4, we've also cleaned up the pyaris. We've started to mulch. We've planted a clematis and a butterfly bush. As well as a 9-bark for some red color interest. And we've set out a few perennials to plant later. We've also transplanted the fuchsias that she really loved that her mother planted in that garden. And we added a little bit of color into this triangle box with a bubblegum supertunia. On day 5, mulching has begun. It really makes those garden beds look defined. And we've added in some annuals and perennials, as well as a blue rug juniper that included snapdragons and petunias and heuchera, creeping Jenny, and the cute little happy face Pontella, as well as the Shasta daisy. On day 6, we got these trellises built. And we've started to put up the barrier to hide that retaining wall. We mulched this path by removing grass and laying down landscape fabric, and then mulching. And we added another Shasta daisy on the hillside. On day 7, We've now planted some foundation plants like this Japanese forest grass and several shrubs, including these North Pole arborvitaes and some beautiful wisteria to climb up these trellises. And we've mulched around the plants on the hillside. This is my new favorite view. This is the view she sees the most from her front deck. Isn't it beautiful? Day 8 was a very exciting day. This was the day that I started to install the Labyrinth. On day 9, I laid down this boardwalk to begin a new walkway. I completed the Labyrinth and planted Blue Star Creeper throughout the spiral. Eventually it will all fill in and it'll be a beautiful soft place to walk around inside of this berry roll, maybe barefoot. And I also laid down these paver stones on the pathway. On day 10, we topped off a little bit of the mulch, and it had been a little over 2 weeks since I'd been in the garden, and I was just assessing the damage of the deer, which all of the clematis blooms had been removed, and they nibbled on the wisteria, but not very much. The wisteria was definitely growing. They had munched down on some of the petunias, but not all the way. Completely took down all of the heuchera, lady's mantle, and quite a bit of the begonias. Take a look at this beautiful fountain that she purchased. Isn't that beautiful? And here we're assessing the fuchsias, the very established fuchsias that we moved from another part of the garden. They have new growth all over them, which makes me very happy. And their roots are feeling solid. And I'm noticing that the deer did not touch the Shasta daisies, which is good news. Here are the deer. While I was building the bridge, the deer were hanging out, looking for some tasty morsels. And you can see the deer have eaten all the perennials, so we're going to change that up today. And this is the last day, so we're going to be working in this area and making it beautiful. Nothing's really changed over on this side. Love that little labyrinth. Beautiful trellises. Little herb garden here. We added artemisia, rosemary, Russian sage, lavender, and culinary sage, as well as some nasturtiums and geraniums and snapdragons and a petunia. Not today, but this is kind of what we did on the design. I added this spirea today, We planted up this Japanese maple. We added 3 little ferns, and this euonymus, a row of this sedge grass, and then a regella down there, and then these hens and chicks came from her mom's garden, and we put them in her garden today, which is super fun. We added this pontilla a little while ago. I put a couple of I built this little over here just to mirror bridge. This area. Added some rock around. She added this sweet fairy there and this gorgeous bird bath. This is what I worked on today. We even added a little solar bubbler in there, so when sun hits it, she gets a little water movement. And she's got some driftwood here. And now this area is all ready for her fairy garden, which she and her granddaughters have been picking up little fun fairy houses and things to add to the garden. And they're talking about maybe creating a little fairy village, painting these scallops. So that's super cute. And then we've got a little trio of sea thrift at the edge here. Let me walk you through what we planted. So I trimmed this up and I moved some giant fuchsias that were over here. We transplanted them over there. They took, even those big plants took, and they're looking good. We added a pontilla here with a little white flower, and I can't remember what these are right now off the top of my head. I'll put a name up on the screen. And then she had this fun little iron structure, so we planted a clematis to climb up it, but the deer keep eating the clematis. So we're maybe gonna have to put a honeysuckle or something different that the deer don't eat. We've got a butterfly bush here, and that has this deep, dark amethyst color. The Labyrinth was designed so you can go around 3 times, and in meditation, and then I've planted it with blue star creeper. We've planted wisteria on these trellises that I built for her, and 3 of the really thin arborvitaes that will get like 15 feet tall, so they'll get way up here and kind of screen the view. She had this great hazelnut tree here. It's a multi-trunk tree that they kept cutting like a shrub. So we're gonna start training it up like a multi-trunk tree and keep selecting a good branching system, but I didn't want to shock it too much because I did a lot of trimming on it early in the season. And then, like I said, we've got just like a little herb garden. We're leaving this space here for her altar. And then on the top of the tier, underneath this rhododendron, I planted a juniper that will kind of cascade over this space. We put a petunia there for this year, but that juniper will cover this whole area and drape down. We can't see right now, but if we peek up over here, I did a 9 bark with a really dark foliage, so that'll cover this area with a contrasting color, and do a little screening. So it'll be like a dark red with all this green around it. Really focusing on texture because the deer are eating all the color. So we've got ferns, and then we've got crocosmia with that grassy texture, and broadleaf evergreens with the rhododendrons, and small leaf deciduous shrubs, and just really focusing on a lot of texture to bring some softness and beauty to this space. And we've got some variegated euonymus, which will pop in the shade, which is really nice. She's got this beautiful, beautiful tree here, established rhododendrons. We did some trimming on the rhododendrons to get some rejuvenation prunes going so she could have better blooms and a thicker shrub. And just a little look here of the fuchsias that we transplanted. You can see that they're all green, and they've got a lot of fresh growth, which makes me super happy. We probably did this about 6 weeks ago, so they're really doing good. We've got another Pontilla here. We did a couple of different daisies. This is I believe Daisy May, or maybe the Banana Cream 2, and then these are Daisy Mays. I think that's correct. And then they have Shasta daisies that just seeded from across the street, which she loves, and so I wanted to just add a little bit more, and the deer seem to leave the daisies alone. Okay, that's kind of the gist of this beautiful garden space. She had this calendula growing. I just added a petunia in there for like contrasting color. Obviously struggling with slugs everywhere as usual. And then I also did a couple of Japanese forest grass, because that's going to be in shade most of the time. It gets a little bit of afternoon sun, but it's a really nice contrasting color, and softens this edge a little bit. She had this vision when we did our opening ceremony of a boardwalk in her garden, so we found this walkway that we can lay in the garden and bring her vision to life. And then we added this stone just because there's a little bit of a dip from her driveway into the garden, and I wanted it to be safe. And it's the same stone as we use table and chairs. And she has a lot of family come to visit often, so I kind of think they're utilizing this in their like family seating right now. But as soon as she gives me the go-ahead, I'll just pop over here and move that bench over there for her. And then we want to add another chair right in this area for her to like just chill in the shade and read a book or something like that when she wants to. I'm just going to go around the other direction just to give you a different perspective and viewpoint. When you pull into her driveway, you're kind of seeing this. And I really designed this garden for there to be a lot of spaces to like pull you through and guide you into the interior of this sacred space. And you come to the end of this walkway, and then you discover that there's a labyrinth there. So just a lot of fun little pockets of interest. And then of course we've got this boardwalk to come through this way, and then we've got a little natural trail here with some that little footbridge is so cute. I'm so happy with it. All right, that's gonna be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're celebrating your life and you're bringing a little magic into your garden today, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.